10 The Most Beautiful Villages in Switzerland. Introduction. Hello friends. If you like cozy mountain houses, the smell of freshly baked bread and views from which the spirit is breathtaking, Switzerland is created for you. I traveled this country along and across, and I can confidently say, its real magic is not hidden in large cities, but in small villages, where time seemed to freeze. Imagine alpine meadows, ancient chalets with carved shutters, narrow streets paved with stone, and somewhere in the distance the ringing of cowbells. Here every corner is like a card. And in these places there are no crowds of tourists, but there is an atmosphere of real Switzerland, comfortable, hospitable, and incredibly beautiful. In this video, I will show you 10 villages who conquered my heart. Ready? Village 1, Zermatt, Kingdom of Matterhorn. Friends, if I were offered to name the most picturesque place in Switzerland, I would, without hesitation, said Zermatt. Why is this a special place? Imagine, you wake up in a cozy wooden chalet, open the shutters, and before you is a magnificent Matterhorn, one of the most recognizable mountains on the planet. Its sharp peak, covered with eternal snow, rises above the village, like an sentry. And this spectacle is never boring. There are no cars here, and it is magical. Currently, gasoline engines are prohibited in Zermatt. Instead, electric cars, horse-drawn carts and bicycles. The air here is crystal clean, and the silence only violates the ringing of bells on the necks of the cows. What to do? In winter, it is a paradise for skiers and snowboarders. 300 kilometers of tracks of different levels of complexity, and all with amazing views. In the summer, hundreds of foot routes. The most famous is the Path of the Five Lakes, where each lake reflects Matterhorn as a mirror. Be sure to ride on the Gruyères Railway. This is an old red train that lifts you to a height of more than 3,000 meters. Types: breathtaking. Where to live and what to try. Stop in a traditional chalet with carved balconies, for example, in Hotel Monte Rosa, where the first climbers once stayed. Try raclette, a local dish of molten cheese, which is served with potatoes and pickled cucumbers. The secret from the experienced: come at the end of September, there are almost no crowds, the mountains have already been sprinkled with the first snow, and the prices are lower than at the peak of the season. The second village, Gruyères, cheese paradise and medieval decorations. Friends, if fabulous scenery and delicious cheese suddenly decided to create the perfect Swiss village, Gruyères would have turned out. Why is this place special? Imagine, you go along the prayer streets of the 12th century. 3 reasons to fall in love with this place: cheese, for which it is worth living here. The very famous Gruyère cheese is made at golden, with a walnut taste. In the La Maison du Gruyère sur Auvergne, you can see how 400-liter boilers turn milk into cheese heads. And yes, tasting is required. Castle worthy of a knightly novel. The Gruyère Castle, with 8 centuries-old towers, seem to have left the pages of a fairy tale. Inside, the tapestry of the 15th century and the history of the 19 generations of the Count. From the upper terrace, a view of the entire valley opens. Geiger Museum, the most unexpected contrast after the Middle Ages, a sharp turn to science fiction. In the former prison, now the H.R. Geiger Museum, the creator of The Stranger. Surrealistic halls with biomechanical sculptures, an unforgettable sight. What to do? Raw food tour, from farm to fondue in the restaurant Le Chalet. Walk to Mulsanne, easy tracking to Chocolate Grief, 2 hours. The Balloon Festival in January, the sky is colored by hundreds of balls. Where to live and what to try. Hotel Fleur de Lis, a room with a view of the castle for 200 francs mandatory. Ming with cream and café. Restaurant de Remparts for bold, cheese fun with Kirschwasser, cherry vodka. The secret from the experienced. On Thursday morning, a real farmer market unfolds in the square. Local cheese raisers bring exclusive varieties, which are not in stores. Village 3, Lauterbrunnen, Valley of 70-2 Waterfalls. Friends, imagine the place where nature arranged the most grand water show on the planet. Welcome to Lauterbrunnen, the valley, which Goethe himself sang at Faust, and Tolkien made Rivendell with a prototype. Why is this place magical? In this gorge, almost 8 kilometers with steep cliffs up to 300 meters high, 70-2 waterfalls are overturned. The most famous is Stubach. His stream falls from a height of 290-7 meters, scattering with millions of sparkling spray. 3 wonders. Lauterbrunnen, Trimbach Waterfall is the only one in the world where you can go inside the mountain. Through the tunnel you fall behind the wall of falling water. The sound is more powerful than the organ in the cathedral. The Jungfrau Glacier, from here the most picturesque route to the top of Europe, starts. On the way, you will see an ice palace with mirror halls. The suspended road to Shilthorn is the one where Bondiana was shot in the secret service of Her Majesty. Upstairs is the rotating restaurant Piz Gloria. What to do in the valley? Morning ritual, to meet the dawn at the Staubach waterfall, when the rays of the sun create a rainbow in splashes. Extreme, bees jumping from the height of the Mrakbach waterfall, only for professionals. Romance, evening concert of organ music in a cave under a waterfall. Where to stop and what to try? Staubach Hotel rooms with panoramic windows directly opposite the waterfall, from 150 francs, necessarily. Berry strudel with vanilla sauce in Oberland Café for brave, traditional Baranski honey pie with strong coffee. The secret of the expert in May, when snow is melting, the waterfalls are most complete. But the most magical time is December, when the jets freeze, turning into giant ice sculptures, illuminated by lights. Village 4th, Mürren Cloud Kingdom over the abyss. Friends, now I will lead you to a place where it seems as if you can touch the clouds with your hand. Mürren is the highest village of Canton Bern, located at a dizzying height of 1,654 meters above sea level. Why is it breathtaking here? Imagine, you are standing on a wooden balcony, and under you is a bottomless abyss of the Lauterbrunnen Valley. Around, snowy 3000s, and fluffy clouds swim right in front of the nose. There are no cars in Mürren, only mountain air, the ringing of bells and rustle of alpine winds. 5 reasons to rise here. The observation deck Alamendable is a glass platform hanging over a cliff of 700 meters. View of 3 countries at once, Switzerland, Germany, and France. The coolest railway of the world, the funicular to Shilthorn, rises at an angle of 70-5 degrees. The wagons have special inclined seats. The flow of flowers. In the summer, the entire slope turns into a multicolored carpet of 5. The Ice Sports Center, a skating rink with natural ice, works even in August. And here there are curling trams of the 19th century. The launch pad for Delta's players, you can fly over the Alps with the instructor. The flight lasts about 20 minutes. What to do at different times of the year? In winter, 30-5 kilometers of ski routes of all levels, night slopes in the light of torches on Friday's Hasky renovation, skating to a neighboring village. In summer, adventure park with suspended bridges between rocks, swimming in the mountain lake Blaus with water of the color of the sapphire, master classes on the manufacture of alpine horns. Where to stop and what to try? Eiger Hotel is a historical building with balconies, inspection platforms, from 280 francs. Restaurant Stager Stubbly, try the Bundner Rocket with local potatoes necessarily, hot chocolate with pepper and cinnamon in the Edelweiss Cafe. Secret from local residents every morning at 6 o'clock 30 minutes, the aroma of fresh bread comes from the Chalet Bakery. If you have time for the opening, you can buy more warm Bernbeiner brought buns in the form of bear paws, symbol of Bern. Village 5, Appenzell, a country of carved facades and sonorous traditions. Friends, get ready to plunge into the most authentic Switzerland. Appenzell is an open-air living museum, where each house is a work of art, and traditions are observed with touching belief. Why is this the heart of real Switzerland? Here, time as if froze in the 18th century. On the central square you will see, at home manually with floral patterns, workshops where famous bells for cows are made, embroidery shops that are created only in this valley. For miracles of Appenzell, the Museum of Cheese on Wheels is an old car where they show how Appenzeller is prepared, the only cheese that is rubbed with a special herbal composition. Canton Meetings Hall are the only government building in the world with pink walls and carved shutters. Here they still vote with raising hands. The wooden bridge across the Sitter River, built without a single nail in 1799 year and is still in perfect condition. The Alpine Jodel Festival, every January the best performers from all over the country come here. You will hear 3-headed singing, from which goosebumps run around the skin. What to do in the Appenzell? Siravarka Steinbull, here you can participate in the creation of a cheese wheel yourself. Woodcutting Path, a route past 20 workshops with a demonstration of crafts. Rise to Ebenalp, a cable car with a transparent floor, height is 1,640 meters. Where to stop and what to try? Guest House Lohen, a number with a bed under a canopy and a view of the Alps, 180 francs. Restaurant Appenzeller House, corporate dish, Birschenbrot, pear bread with cheese filling, mandatory, Liker Alpenkutter on 30-3 alpine herbs. Secret from local residents: every Saturday, at 10 in the morning, a dancing fountain begins on the main square. The old mechanism of the 19th century releases jets of water under folk melodies. The best places are at Rathaus Cafe. 6th Village, Gaststadt Alpine Hollywood. For the elector's friends, now we are going to the place where the cream of society enjoy nature with a glass of champagne in his hand. Gaststadt is not just a resort, but a real symbol of prestige, where luxury residences are hidden behind the modest wooden facades. Why are millionaires going here? Imagine 350 kilometers of ideal ski tracks, 250 sunny days a year, private chalets with heated pools on open terraces. 5 reasons to feel like a star. Promenade with history. On the main street 780 meters you will find Louis Vuitton boutiques next to traditional cheese shops. Gringo Club is the legendary jazz bar, where Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong played. Today you can hear live music for 300 francs over the evening. Golf Club at a Heide field of 1,100 meters above sea level with a view of the Diababer Glacier. A spa center with alpine herbs, 35 species of procedures using local plants collected on the slopes of the mountains. The classic winter festival every January. The musicians of Anna Netrebko are here. What to do at different times of the year? In winter, skating on the natural ice of Lake Lawan and dinner at Igloo Village with a tasting fondue under the stars, private skiing lessons with Olympic champions. In summer, Freiburger breed walks, specially bred for the mountains, Roy Emerson tennis tournaments, 15 ground venues, collection of alpine berries with chefs of Michelin restaurants. Where to stop and what to try? Alpine Gaststadt hotel rooms with pink marble fireplaces, from 1,200 francs. Cheesery restaurant, here is prepared by marble beefsteaks that grew up on alpine meadows necessarily. Hot chocolate with truffles and golden dust in Café Henri. The secret for those who are not a millionaire: each Wednesday at 5 o'clock in the evening in the Bäckerei Konditorei Müller Bakery, unsold cakes remain. They can be bought for half the price. And in January and April, housing prices fall by 40%. 7th Village, Vengen, a balcony with a view of the Alpine giants' friends. Now we will go up to the Cloud Kingdom, where every day it begins with a view of 3 legendary giant. Wengen is a village terrace at an altitude of 1,174 meters, from where the panorama opens on the Alpine Trinity, Eger, Meon and Jungfrau. Why is this place special? Imagine, cars here are prohibited from 1893 years. An old gear rail is the only way to get. Wooden chalets with carved balconies seem to grow from rocks. 3 wonders of Vengen, the observation deck, small shed egg, and 3 glaciers at once. On a clear day, you can even see Schwarzwald in Germany. The Path of Legends is a 2-kilometer route with interactive installations telling the stories of the first climbers. The Ice Palace is an artificial cave in a glacier, where every winter they create new sculptures from ice out. What to do at different times of the year? In winter, 420 kilometers of prepared tracks, night slopes in the light of spotlights on Saturdays, culinary masterclasses in alpine huts. In summer, adventure park with cable paths between pines, excursions to the Cheese Man, where cheese is made only from summer milk, open-air classical concerts. Where to stop and what to try? Red Ina Hotel is a historical building with vintage elevators, from 300 francs. Silberhorn Restaurant, here is prepared a trout caught in mountain streams necessarily. Berry Nurse with local blueberries in a cafe 1900. Secret from the conductors: in the early morning, when the fog is creeping along the valley, you can see a rare phenomenon, the broken ghost. Your shadow is reflected in the clouds surrounded by a rainbow halo. The best place for observation is the path to the Trummelbach waterfall. Village 8, Stein am Rhein, a revived medieval fairy tale. Friends, imagine the perfect postcard with Switzerland and Stein am Rhein will be in front of you. This tiny town on the banks of the Rhine is so beautiful that it seems to be a decoration for the film. Why is this place unique? Stein am Rhein is hundreds of painted facades of the 16th century with biblical plots and floral ornaments. One of the smallest historical squares in Europe is only 50 meters in length. The only fully preserved medieval city in Switzerland without modern interspersed. 3 magic corners of Stein am Rhein, Rathesplatz, here every house tells a story. Pay attention to the house at the White Eagle with the fresco of the Last Judgment and at the Red Bull with scenes from the life of artisans. The museum in the monastery of St. George, here the most ancient collection of glass dishes in the world is stored. Some exhibits date back to the 4th century. Rhinskaya Embankment, from here boats go to the Rhine waterfall. In the summer, thousands of candles and paper lanterns are lit here in the evenings. What to do in the city? Try Rhinsky gold bread bunches with saffron, which are only baked here. Take a picture at the narrowest house, with only 3.5 meters. Rise to the Castle Mountain Hohenklingen circular panorama on the Rhine in Germany. Where to stop and what to try? Rheinfels Hotel, a room with a balcony over the river, from 180 francs. Adler Restaurant is a branded dish, monastic ribs with honey sauce necessarily, sherry beer of the local brewery, which has been boiled since 1475. Secret from experts: every June in the city passes the Night of 1,000 Candles. Residents put a candle in the windows, and on the Rhine they launch floating lights. The best view is from the village 9th, Gandria, Italian pearl of Switzerland. Friends, get ready for the most unexpected turn of our trip. Gandria is a piece of Italy, which accidentally ended up in the Swiss mountains. They speak the pavement of the Rheto-Romanian language, and the aroma of olive oil and fresh basil is in the air. Why do you feel here in Italy? This is the only village in Switzerland where narrow streets of less than 2 meters form a real labyrinth. The facades of houses are painted in warm terracotta and ochre tones. Invention trees and grapevines grow on every corner. 3 Gandria secrets. The Road of Artists is a trail along which there are easels with reproductions of the paintings by Giovanni Segantini, who lived here in the 19th century. Underground wine cellars. More than 300 years ago, local residents cut down the tunnels for storage of wine. The temperature here is always plus 12 degrees Celsius. The chestnut forest is centuries-old trees with bizarre curved trunks. In the fall, up to 5 tons of chestnuts are collected here. What to do in the village? Master class on the manufacture of pasta in family Mürren Trattoria. Lake Lugano. Lake to the Italian border. Search for speaking frescoes on the walls of houses. There are more than 50 of them in the village. Where to stop and what to try? La Romantica Hotel, rooms with balconies, twisted grapes, from 200 francs. Restaurant Gallo Nero, corporate dish, risotto al ticinese with saffron and lake fish necessarily, honey ice cream with nuts, and the Dolce Vita Cafe. Secret from local residents: every October in the village passes the Festival of Chestnuts. These days you can try chests from chestnuts, brown pasta, even brown beer. The best time to visit is an evening of Wednesday, when they turn on the backlight of ancient streets. 10th Village, Eviana, pearl of Lake Geneva. Friends, we are completing our journey in a place where alpine peaks meet with azure waters. Eviana. This village stretched along the coast of Lake Geneva by 3 kilometers, offering one of the most picturesque views of Mont Blanc. Why is this an ideal place to complete the trip? Eviana is hundreds of sunny days a year thanks to a special microclimate. Vineyards descending to the water itself here make the famous wine chasselas. Parks with exotic plants brought by sailors in the 19th century. For treasures of Eviana, the marina of the 19th century is wooden bridges, where old sailboats are still mooring. Every morning, fresh fish is unloaded here. Thermal springs, water with a temperature of plus 32 degrees Celsius with a high sulfur content. The baths work with 1,832 years. Alley of Magnolia, 250 trees that turn into a pink cloud in April. The Museum of Vinogradism and the Kren Castle, a press of the 17th century weighing almost 3 tons, is stored here. What to do at different times of the year? In summer, bathing on the beach with a view of Mont Blanc, walks on the Retro Père la Suisse, night tasting wines in vineyards. In winter, the Christmas market on the water boats with local delicacies, skates with views of snow-covered Alps, hot chocolate festival, more than 40 varieties. Where to stop and what to try? Hotel Les Prés d'Oc, rooms with panoramic windows from floor to ceiling, from 300 francs. Restaurant La Table du Port is a branded dish, file perch under wine foam, necessarily, pear bread with almond filling in the bakery Pâtisserie du Lac. Secret from local sommelier: the best time to tasting wines is November, when a new crop is opened. Ask Vin Nouveau in any restaurant, they will pour you from special barrels, not bottled. Conclusion: what village conquered your heart? Friends, our journey through 10 the most beautiful villages of Switzerland came to an end. Each of them is unique. Zermatt is the kingdom of Matterhorn. Gruyères is a cheese capital. Lauterbrunnen Valley of Waterfalls. Mürren is a cloud village. Appenzell open-air museum. Gastad resort for the elect. One gen balcony over Alps. Stein am Rhein revived medieval fairy tale. Gandria is a corner of Italy. Eviana. What village did you remember the most? Write in the comments, perhaps your opinion will help other travelers make a choice. If you liked this virtual trip, subscribe to the channel, there are still many amazing routes ahead. See you on the picturesque paths of Switzerland. P.S. My personal favorite is Mürren, where I once met the dawn over the clouds, but this is another story. Sunrise over mountains. Do not forget about the useful services that we indicate in the fixed comments. Subscribe to the channel, like it. Good rest for everyone.